त्वया भारत तैलपूर्णा प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमया प्रदीपः। ॐ ध्यानमूलं गुरोर्मूर्तिः पूजामूलं गुरोर्पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरोर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरोः कृपा। ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय, सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय, कृष्ण भगवान की जय। गीता महारानी की जय। हरि ओम। Today we shall see Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 13th discourse and 32nd sloka. We have already seen before that अनादित्वात् निर्गुणत्वात् परमात्मा अयम अव्ययः शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते. Being without beginning and being devoid of any qualities, the Supreme Self, imperishable, though dwelling in the body, Arjuna neither asks nor is tempted. He is not subject to doership, nor he is the enjoyer. He is unconcerned. यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्यात् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्र अवस्थितो देहे तथात्मा नोपलिप्यते. He gives the example of the sky here as the all-pervading ether is not tainted because of its subtlety. So the self seated anywhere in the body is not tainted, is not concerned, nor is entangled to anything. Ether pervades everything. All are immersed in it. There is no point where unto ether does not penetrated and pervade, and yet it is not tainted by anything. Even so, the self pervades the whole body and the whole world. Being subtler than the body, the self is never tainted by it or anything else. It is unattached and actionless. It has no parts or limbs, so virtuous and vicious actions cannot contaminate the self. It is ever pure and taintless, stainless. He has given the example of the ether, the sky. It is subtlemost, that's why it is not attached to anything. Everything is contained within it, and the ether is not tainted by anything. In the same way, Hari Om Mataji. In the same way, just as air also, of course, air is little grosser than the ether. So sometimes we see air is polluted, but sky is never polluted. And comparatively, the grosser ones are always entangled in everything. Subtler one gets escaped from pollution. The subtlemost ether is not polluted by anything, nor it is tainted by anything. The light of sun, the rays of sun, it is all pervading. Everywhere the sun allows its rays to dwell in. But the sun rays is never polluted by dirty water, nor garbage, nor rotten things. It never gets smelled, nor it is affected by any pollutions of the worldly garbages. The sunlight is ever pure. So also many other examples we see, and this is applicable to the self also. Self is subtler than the subtlemost, so it cannot be even polluted by the ether. It is, though present in all the beings, it is the indweller of all the beings, yet he is never polluted nor gets tainted by any influences of any gross things like gross body or other polluting agents. So, yatha prakasayattekam krishnam lokamimam rabhi. Now he also gives the same example. Just as the sun illumines everywhere, it never gets tainted. Yatha prakasayati ekah krishnam lokamimam rabhi kshetram kshetri tatha krishnam prakasayati bharata. Kshetri, one who knows the kshetra, the owner of the kshetra. The lord of the field, owner of the field, Krishnam, the whole mass. Just as the one sun illumines the whole world, so also the Lord of the field, Supreme Self, illumines the whole field, all the bodies. O Arjuna, it never gets polluted. The Supreme Self is one. It illumines the whole matter from the unmanifested down to the blade of grass or a lump of clay, from the great element down to formless or fortitude. Just as the sun is one, just as the sun illumines the whole world, just as the sun is not tainted, so also the self is one in all bodies. It illumines all the bodies and it is not contaminated by anything. The Supreme Self is all-pervading, but it is not polluted, nor influenced, nor tainted by anything. Kshetra kshetragyayorevam antaram jnana chakshusha vrita prakriti moksham cha ye viduhu yanti te param. They who by the eye of knowledge, jnana chakshusha, by the eye of knowledge, perceive the distinction between the field and the knower of the field, and also the liberation from the nature of being, go to the Supreme. How one gets liberated from the nature's nature. He is never polluted, never tainted, never influenced by the changes of the nature. He is never changing. He becomes the never changing Supreme Self. They who know through the eye of intuition, something beyond intellect, something super intellect, transcendental intellect, that is called intuition. Opened by meditation. One who meditates, his inner eye is open. That means he gets the power of intuition. He can see the subtlemost things. And the instructions of the spiritual preceptor, one who meditates and follows the instructions of spiritual preceptor and the scriptures, that the field is incessant, the doer changing and finite, and that the knower of the field, the self, is pure consciousness, the non-doer, unchanging and infinite, and who also perceive the non-existence of nature, ignorance, the unmanifested, the material cause of being, they attain the supreme. The material cause of the being. One who understands it, he attains the supreme. Though the attainment of self-realization or knowledge of the self through this knowledge they are entirely liberated from the clutches or the influence of Maya, that is delusion and ignorance. They do not assume any more bodies. They are not born again. They attain Kaivalya moksha, Kaivalya oneness. They get oneness with the Supreme Self. They become one with it. So never to come again to the cycle of birth and death, and they never get born again. In accordance with the doctrine of Sankhyas, bondage and freedom do not pertain to the self because it is always unattached and it is the non-doer and non-enjoyer also, and also without limbs or parts. It is one only, without a second, without divisibilities. But on account of its union with nature, it gets entangled with the nature. It assumes agency through superimposition. It gets deluded and it thinks I am this or that. It assumes agency through superimposition. It becomes agent of changing phenomena. When ignorance is annihilated through the knowledge of the self, nature which is conjoined with the self is liberated. When ignorance is annihilated through the knowledge of the self, nature which is conjoined with the self is liberated. Then she gives up her play or dance in front of the spirit, in the front of the spirit. She has discharged all her duties well for the sake of the enjoyment and the release, bhoga and apavarga. Nature plays both the parts. It allows the ignorant persons to be bewildered, be confused by the changing phenomena. At the same time, just as a hide and seek game, and when the ignorant person tries his level best by satsang and by many other means, by the preceptor, guidance of the preceptor, and by self-effort, by the guidance of scriptures, then the mumukshu, the aspirant, gets oneness. That is also because of the Maya delusive power. Delusive power loses its network and gives freedom to get out of its network. So in this way, the followers of Shakti, those who worship the Supreme Power is everything. It is the cause for bondage and also for liberation. Both way it gives bhukti and mukti, enjoyments here in the world and liberation hereafter. Both way. We can say the cage is cause for bondage and for freedom. The prison is cause for bondage and freedom. When you are in the prison, you have lost your freedom. When you are out of the prison, then you are free. So the prison becomes both way the cause for bondage and freedom. Similar is the case with the Maya, the delusive power, the supreme power which deludes the whole universe. Who gets liberation? If this is the question, then we have to say, what are you going to say? Who gets bound and who gets liberated? False Pardon?
False identification.
False identification. And who identifies falsely? Who is that? That is to understand. You see, the reality gets covered up by this illusory power, just as the real letter, the matter, is enveloped by the envelope. If you don't open the envelope, you cannot read the matter of the letter. You have to open it out and throw the envelope aside, and then you can see the reality. Everywhere we see the same thing in the nature. The truth is hidden by the nature, by the false superimposition or false identities that is called superimposition, just as the snake covers up the false idea of the snake, which is not at all present there, covers up the reality, that is rope. Rope is hidden, though it is clearly present there, but our illusory vision, the snake hides the rope and we see the snake on it. Similarly, when the truth is all pervading, everywhere present, it is just like sky, just like the light of the sun. It is ever present everywhere, devoid of any conditions, unconditional truth, yet it is hidden by ignorance, that is false identification also. The same truth thinks I am, the same fruit thinks I am the overpowering skin. The plantain, the banana, itself thinks I am the overpowering skin. And when you peel out the skin, throw it aside, then the real pulp, the real banana you can enjoy. Name rupe prithak kritva, names and forms which cover the reality, we have to peel it out, throw out, and then the reality, that is asti bhati priya, presence, and which is awareness itself, and which is dear to everyone, that is hidden inside. When the names and forms, which are overpowering agents, which are ever-changing agents, they are taken out, then the reality reveals. The ever revealed revelation reveals itself. Yes?
So Maharaj, from a relative point of view, should we understand the superimposition is also there in the 5 elements?
Yes, why not? 5 elements and mixture of it, panchikaran, everything, they have become many, they are ever changing, they go on changing every moment. That's how they create confusion. What is what? The names and forms are ever changing. The same person who is known as the father in the family, he is a teacher in the school, he is a traveler in the path, he is a customer in the market, he is the hearer, audience in a big meeting. The name changes according to the qualities and actions. Form also changes. The same little child becomes young. It becomes old also, and it becomes one day dead body, the same child's body. The form changes every moment. They say in 12 years the whole body changes. The blood cells, the blood, the muscles, the bone, the marrow, everything changes in 12 years. The whole body is subject to change. and also name we change according to our actions and our qualities. So names and forms are ever changing. That's how it covers up the reality, overpowers, envelops the reality. These names and forms should be forgotten forever. That is the only way to go out of the clutches of Maya. Therefore, the Sankhyas declare that bondage and freedom are states of nature only. Some interpret that the self is emancipated from the shackles of nature and her modifications. So, in this way, we conclude this chapter. This chapter is known also by the name of Prakriti Purusha Vibhaga Yoga. We knew it as the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga or Kshetra Kshetrajna or Vibhaga Yoga, and also it is known by Prakriti Purusha Vibhaga Yoga. Anyway, you can name it. In this way, we have seen what is called field, what is indweller in the field, which is the owner of the field, knower of the field, and one who knows it in reality. He gets over the delusory power of Maya. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Panisastu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambade Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga Nama Trayodasodhyaya. The yoga of distinction between the field and the knower of the field ends in this way. And we shall see the 14th chapter after this, which is named as Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. The division of the three gunas, how the nature plays the game by imbalancing or making differences in the three qualities. They are one picture from three dimensions, three directions. We see three different pictures. In this way, the static or the balanced state of the gunas, it is in the beginning there, and when there becomes some little changes in it, it appears as if it is vibrating or changing. It appears as if different from each other, and then it appears in three dimensions from three different angles. The same thing, one becomes three from three angles of vision. This is how the three qualities are different from each other. But really there is no difference. There is no difference anywhere. The vision only creates these divisions from different angles. One thing appears to be different. We take the example of the going round of a mountain or anything. When we take videography of one from different angles, it appears differently. So one thing appears as different from each other. And one who sees the one from all-round vision, he sees the reality. That's how we trace upon all-round vision. One who is standing on the peak of the mountain, he sees all round the mountain, 100 kilometers away from mountain. Everything at a glance, all round vision. But one who is climbing the mountain, he cannot get all round vision. He will have some visions according to its height. How high you have climbed, accordingly your vision will be so wide. So you have to understand where do you stand. What is your height of understanding? That is also depth of the meaning of the understanding words. The same word will have so many meanings. Internal meaning, external meaning, apparent meaning, changing meanings. Same word, network of words. This is how the Saraswati means one who scrolls. It is not straight. Every moment it changes. That is the power, supreme power, which changes the whole world, plays the trick. Saraswati is changing power, creating differences. And this creating difference is the root cause of the creation. One, when is divided into many, it appears as if many, but one is present internally, basically in all the parts of it. Just as one body is never seen, but it is seen in many parts only. The same body sees the body in different parts. Eyes sees only the parts of the body, the whole body the eyes cannot see. See the limited vision of the being. This is how all the confusion starts. The cause of this creation is difference, creating difference. And this is also one of the politics points, 4 points. By 4 points you can play politics. What is that? Sama, dana, danda, bhed. To compromise, to have friendship, and you can dominate over others, and by creating differences in the opponents, and they will fight among themselves. You can dominate over them by giving some persuasions, some gifts, something. They will be under your clutches, and by, if nothing works, you can punish them. Dand. Sam, Dan, Dand, Bhed. 4 points of politics. We shall see the differences in the three gunas, divisions of three gunas. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Param Bhuyah Pravakshami Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam Jajñatva Munayah Sarve Param Siddhim Itogata. The Blessed Lord said, I will again declare to thee, Arjuna, that supreme knowledge, the best of all knowledge, having known which all the sages have gone to the supreme perfection after this life. They attended the oneness with the Supreme Self. Further analysis of the field is made in this chapter. How the nature plays the game, the tricks of nature, the secret of nature, how nature pervades everywhere, envelops everywhere, everything, by all means. The truth is covered up by the nature, by these three gunas. In chapter 13, verse 21, it has been stated that attachment to these qualities is the cause of samsara, or birth in good and evil wombs. In the chapter, the Lord gives answer to the questions, what are the qualities of nature, gunas? How do they bind a man? What are the characteristics of these qualities? How do they operate? How can one obtain freedom from them? What are the characteristics of a liberated soul then? When it is liberated, what will be the characteristics of the liberated soul? All knowledge has no reference to the knowledge described in chapter 13, verses 7 to 10, but it refers to that kind of knowledge which concerns sacrifices, that kind of knowledge which relates to sacrifices cannot give liberation. But the knowledge which is going to be imparted in the discourse In this discourse, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga will certainly lead to emancipation. The Lord eulogizes this knowledge by the epithets supreme and the best, the best. In order to create great interest in Arjuna and other spiritual aspirants also, having learnt this supreme knowledge, all the sages who practiced manana or reflection, Munis have attained perfection after being freed from bondage to the body. If you know the differences of qualities and actions of qualities, how do they act, how do they create confusion, then you will not be attached with the body. You will get freedom from body idea, and thereby you will get a realization of the self. Itaha, after this life, after being freed from the bondage to the body, bodily life and beyond body life, we are attached to the body, so it is our life is called bodily life. We identify ourselves to the body. I means the body. So we are attached to the body. Body and I have been tied up with the knot of ignorance. That is called the Chit Jad Granthi. And when it is loosened, the knot is opened, then the Chit is released from the body. That is by knowing the differences and characteristics and the nature of the qualities. How the nature plays the drama by changing the three qualities. We shall see tomorrow the next sloka. Idam jnanam upasritya mama sadharmyam agataha sarvepi nopajanante sargepi nopajayante pralayena vyathanti cha. Knowing this, you will be liberated from all these bondages and you will be one with me. We shall see it tomorrow. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasisate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Sachidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Gita Mata ki jai. Hari Om.